So let's welcome Jestopher, that he's a really nice guy. I'll say it again. Let's all give Jestopher a very warm welcome. Woo! Now it worked.
Hi guys.
Good. Good.
Awesome. Hi all. I'm Jestopher, and I work for Amboss.space, or Amboss Technologies is the company. And there's Giacomo Zucco in the other room as well. So this is... Let's see. So I'm here to talk about open markets for Lightning liquidity. Let's see, do I have a clicker? All right, so I'll keep it super basic to start off with and give you guys some Bitcoin and Lightning concepts, and then talk about some network coordination that happens. Tell about the open market for this liquidity, and also give you some market data. So overall, Lightning Network, the overall goals are to reduce the fees and increase the speed of transactions. Can I just see, like, who runs a node right here? Awesome. Any miners in the room? Like Bitcoin miners? Sweet. All right. Okay, so overall, we've got like on-chain Bitcoin. In order to turn it into a channel, you have to open it to someone else. So Alice opens a channel to Bob, and you've created Lightning. But overall, the channel size is from the total amount of Bitcoin put in at the start, and they act like a joint account. So what Alice sees at the beginning, she owns the entire thing. Bob sees that he owns nothing of the channel. When Alice makes a payment to Bob, like what she sees, it's two sides of the same coin. So what she sees is she owns more of this, Bob owns less. And these transactions are not written to the blockchain. When these transaction happens, like they're actually signing the channel payout. And you could do this millions of times before the channel actually closes. And when that signed channel payout is used is at the channel close. So it goes from this channel to Bob getting his 10% and to Alice getting her 90% of this. Now with this is all to lead up to understanding liquidity and why it's needed. So Alice, with this setup, she's ready to be a consumer. She owns, like, all this balance is her send capacity. And on the other side, Bob's balance is her receive capacity. So she's set up to be a consumer. Whereas Bob, on the other hand, he's ready to be a merchant. He doesn't have as much send capacity, so he's not going to be able to pay for expenses and such, but he's ready to receive. So he's ready to start a store. Now, looking at Alice's channels, Amboss.space is a Lightning Network Explorer, and so you'll be able to see all the channels, the public channels that Alice has open. And one of those is the channel to Bob and his store. He's got a certain amount of inbound capacity or receive capacity from Alice, her balance. So when you look at Bob's store, he's got a certain amount of customers. And the main one is Alice herself. And she can route this transaction. She can pay Bob directly. But also, the Lightning payments can hop. And so the first hop would be Alice's peers. The other channels that she has, she provides the infrastructure for it to come from one of those peers and go to Bob. And Alice is able to charge a fee to route that payment and use that infrastructure. In addition, you can hop multiple times, so Alice's peers' can also use that infrastructure to go to Bob. In order to receive even more payments, it's not Bob that actually has the capacity to change this. He needs the network to change so that he can receive more payments. And this requires network coordination. in this decentralized network, that's really what is required. So, like, how does Bob go about this? I think the first step, one of the services that we provide, is simply like links to Bob's node page. And so he's able to signal to the network, hey, like I'm running a service here, I'm running a store, please open a channel to me so that I can continue to operate my business. So you can think of this, networks require networking. And the first step is kind of what Knut was talking about before, kind of this love thing. This is like getting your friends and your family to make connections and connect you to their network. So it's an opportunity to really leverage social media. Now, on each node page, we've provided some ranking information. So, are you the best node on the network? And some people will be making evaluations. Do I want to connect to you? Are you the best node for me? Are you going to be generating lots of activity? And there's a whole bunch of rankings, and some of them are based on math. So, LN Node Insight provides mathematical-based ones. Terminal Web from Lightning Labs, it's looking at more liquidity, uptime, and also the quality of your peers. And of course, there's a whole set of fees attached. But don't get too caught up on the rankings because it may not be what your node actually needs to do its job well. So try not to study to the test. But overall, just sharing these links, the dominant traffic source for our site is still Twitter by a long shot. But say, for example, Bob doesn't know that many people, or they're not on Lightning. And so the other option that he has is to actually buy Lightning channels. And there's a couple of ways that he can do that. We've got our version of this, which is called Magma, which allows you to buy a Lightning channel. Also, at the protocol level, there's liquidity ads from Core Lightning, which Lisa Nygut was behind. So. And also, there's Lightning Labs Pool. So for Magma, we launched that in April, and we've seen quite a bit of volume on that. The value there, each node operator sets fees for the channels, both a fee for opening the channel at first, and then also making a promise of the fees that they will charge over the life of the channel. And those channels are created based on demand. They're not just opened randomly. As I mentioned before, Core Lightning, it's the liquidity ads happen at the protocol level, very high privacy. And Lightning Labs uses a blind auction methodology. So in thinking about how to compare these channels that are available for sale, I've combined all of those different metrics into an APR. They're promising a duration for the channel. They're promising the fee that they will charge, and also the size of the channel, the capacity. So with this APR, we can look through the entire market and see what all is available. So on our channel marketplace, what it really enables is non-custodial Bitcoin yield in exchange for services that node operators are providing. And those are three main things. So one, it expands Bob's customer base for his store. It also, they're providing reliable payment infrastructure. If your node is not reliable, maybe that liquidity is not worth as much. And this is not passive income. This is maintaining hardware to actually make this happen. And it's also a payment for the assumption of risk. So it's a hot wallet by default for Lightning. It's also got the risk of the Lightning protocol and as well the Magma platform if that's what you're using. So out of all of this, we're starting to get some data about APRs coming out of the Magma marketplace. And we can see, first of all, it's quite a young market. There's like only 100 offers that are currently ongoing at any one time. And you can see the weekly volume, or sorry, the APR goes from like 2 to 6% for the most part. It offers a pretty competitive risk reward. Lightning is very low risk, but it's still there. And similarly, the APRs are quite low compared to other custodial yield products, which are a lot higher risk. Generally, non-custodial, that's part of that risk, and low cost of entry. For $300 worth of parts, or if you're going to Voltage, for example, you can get a node and pay for it on a monthly basis. Now, looking at these APRs, you can, in a way, this isn't a perfect apples-to-apples comparison, but you can think about Visa credit card, their interchange fees that they're charging, like between around 2%. Microtransactions are even more costly because there is a fixed component, and Discover fees like 2.3%. So primary takeaways, merchants will pay for this. They will buy your Lightning channels and make sure that their business can continue to operate. And this liquidity provides real value to these merchants. But after all, it's not super cost competitive with credit cards, so keep that in mind. But one thing that we're learning about is that, at least folks are contacting us about, is there's lots of places of the world where credit cards do not reach, or they don't have a payment card infrastructure, whereas they do have mobile phones. So this is, I see as a huge opportunity for Lightning. And what's next for us? We did announce an open beta for our Magma swaps, which allow people to swap from Bitcoin, on-chain Bitcoin, to Lightning. And we'll use the same open market principles and actually be able to see how people are valuing on-chain Bitcoin versus Lightning, and also smooth that user experience when they're accumulating Lightning payments. So if you'd like to help us try this out, it's an open beta, and we would really, really appreciate your feedback. And with that, thanks so much for having me.
Questions? Yep.
Hi, Jesse. So I'm still like super new to this space, and I'm learning about how channels are balanced, and how to run a node properly, maybe profitably. We spoke, and basically, from what I understand, this service is quite similar to the loop service, right? That Lightning Labs creates. Have you guys done? I'm not sure if you have enough transaction volume yet, but have you guys done any analysis to kind of compare and contrast the cost? Right, like from an open market, what you're doing versus the cost of, I guess, what Lightning's doing. I don't know how they cost their product, but I'm just kind of wondering, how the fees look, in your product compared to the alternative.
Yeah, I mean, this will be kind of up to the market, but generally, like what we know about Loop is Lightning Labs will charge a fee to do the conversion, and it is trustless. They're doing a submarine swap. But in addition to that, other routing nodes are opening channels to the Loop node, and you'll be able to see that on the incoming fee distribution for the Loop node. So when you're actually paying for the Loop service, like you're going to be making a Lightning payment, and it's going to this Loop node. But you're also paying for the routing through there, and those fees are significant. So Lightning Labs, let's see, the last data that I know, they're charging 0.1% to do this conversion, but you're also paying for the routing node to get there. So by opening up the swap market, it's not all focused on a singular node. Like those payments could flow anywhere in the network, and the actual routing fee is directional. So my initial thinking is that there will be quite a bit of cost competition there, whereas like a certain node can start closing channels and kind of be their own loop, where like what we're watching like several other swap services pop up, like DZ swaps, for example, which is like a trust-based swap. But like with our marketplace, like we're kind of overseeing this and making sure that it's a bit safer than a complete rug swap, which is the trust-based swap. Thanks.
More questions. Okay.
Rug swap.
So what's the risk if you use your product?
Let's see, for the channels or for the
Channels.
yeah, for the channels, there is some risk that let's see. So you're paying for a Lightning payment. We're using a HODL invoice, so you got a pending HTLC like in the channels there, and so there is some risk that like one, they don't open the channel, but if they don't open the channel, we don't process the payment for it. Now we're able to do that with the HODL invoices, but we're only looking at the blockchain at that point. And gossip is actually quite slow as it moves through the network. So it's possible that like in actuality, it wasn't truly a channel. It was just a transaction. Now we would, as soon as we spot that and the channel never materialized on the network, then we like cut them out of the marketplace completely because they just lied and received a payment for it. So there is some risk, but try and keep that as minimal as possible. And yeah, we're using kind of a reputation to control this.
Some more questions? Thank you.
Pleasure.
Okay. No, it will fall. So now we have, if I'm not wrong, we have Steph, right? Okay.
I'm back. So I'm just gonna sleep here while Steph tells you her life story, basically. I'm kidding. I proposed to Steph that since this is her first time in front of such a large audience, that I would help out a little bit, being a old school Bitcoin founder and now being too old for that shit. You know, the new school is coming in and building things. So I have a list of questions here. You need to turn it on, honey.
Hi.
There we go.
This is also where it started for both of us.
Indeed. This is, if we look back, hold on, where's my damn questions? I need my script. Steph and I actually met here 3 years ago, 2019. So it's quite cathartic, would we say, to be back here and actually swapping shoes, really. Now I'm the fucking Twitter shit poster, and you're the one running a business. So interesting times. So look, let's begin with that. So 3 years ago, it was 2019. I still look back on the world as if, particularly that conference. For me, when I look back at Baltic Honeybadger 2019, like we were all still innocent. If anyone remembers, like, you know, we were all still kind of like bright-eyed and thinking about Bitcoin, how it's going to change the world and all this sort of stuff. And then 2020 happened, and the whole fucking world went to shit, and we all kind of like aged 20 years and got all bitter and cold and resentful at the world. So I guess my first question on that dark note is, tell me a little bit about, or tell us a little bit about who you were and what you were doing kind of around that time, because you were in an exploratory phase. Like, who was Stephanie before?
Before we met. So I discovered crypto in 2017. I actually, during that time, I had the opportunity to travel a lot, and I attended a lot of crypto conferences all over the world. I was actually mainly in Asia at the time. And when I was in conferences, crypto never clicked. I was asking to the crypto bro, why are you here for? What's the value proposition of what you're doing? And they were telling me, well, this is for securing my data. I have this blockchain thing for securing my data. And I was like, all right, well, thanks, but still it doesn't click. So I searched for the brightest, smart brains in the room. And guess what? They were Bitcoiners. So at that time, I started to use this opportunity to attend conferences, to attend the talks from like people like Safedin, Tonveys at the time, Samson, those type of people. And I basically slowly became a so-called Bitcoin idealist, maximalist type of person.
Yeah, I remember you were actually one of the first chicks that was like a Bitcoin maxi. I still remember that clearly. And so you spent this time basically what I usually call it climbing Mount Stupid, you know? Like you climb up and you realize that it's all idiots here and you like quickly run back down. And it's funny, it very quickly separates who the idiots are versus who the genuine people are. And you kind of, they're still there in 2021 or whatever year we're in now, 2022, talking about fucking tokens and JPEGs and God knows what else. So that was then. And then talk us through then, you spent this time, you invested in yourself to try and learn about Bitcoin. You saved in Bitcoin?
Yeah, that's correct. So so the more I learned about Bitcoin, well, obviously then I aligned my thoughts and my words with actions, and basically I moved my money from the fiat standard to Bitcoin standard. So Bitcoin became my savings account, and over the years, as of 2018, I saw my saving account taking value. Saying my saving account taking value, well, with the magic number go up technology was quite changing for me, because it allowed me to feel more safe with my free time. So I kind of used a lot of my free time to hang out with people like you, to be on Bitcoin Twitter, to think about Bitcoin a lot. And basically at some point during 2020, I was like, all right, I put so much time and energy into this Bitcoin thing. Why not transforming this time and energy into something that has an economic value, right? It makes sense, because my savings are not meant to be spent on a day-to-day basis to buy whatever shit. So I still needed to have a revenue. So building on a Bitcoin standard with the knowledge that I acquired over the years, and also with the network that I acquired over the years, because since 2018, now my social layer, if I might say, is also kind of built on a Bitcoin standard. Most of the people I talk to since now, a few years, are actually Bitcoiners. I go on holidays with Bitcoiners, I meet with Bitcoiners, I talk with them every day, I build with Bitcoiners. So everything kind of started to be aligned to be where I am today, and finally decided to build on a Bitcoin standard. And maybe one last thing I would add to that is at some point, and I think that's where Alex and I have some stuff in common, it's from the value, the ideological thing. I wanted to opt out from the fiat system. I do not want to build for the parasite. Like you know, I read Atlas Shrugged in 2020 during like COVID whatever time, and
Greatest book ever.
Right. It changed a lot of my framing, a lot. And I realized that basically what Bitcoiners are doing, they're actually building the Gulch Valley, the Bitcoin Gulch Valley. And And I'm like, yes, that's exactly what we're doing. And those people and us, we're not the same. I don't want to build for them anymore.
Beautiful. I mean, you and I have a similar story in the sense of I had that same thing, climb Mount Stupid, and then I invested all this time and effort into Bitcoin. I was like, fuck, I got to build a Bitcoin product. And yeah, out of that came Amber, and I think we had a similar vision in terms of the user experience and making it easy and all of that. But what I love about what you're doing with Peach is that it took it a step further, than what I was doing, because I was still plugged into the legacy system. And for me, particularly this comment about building not for the parasite is, I've come to the conclusion, and I'm just going to say this out there, that the only moral business left in the world is terrorism. And here we are being financial terrorists on a Bitcoin standard. Like we are building something incompatible. And I vowed to myself, for example, I'm going to spend the next couple of years writing and making babies and shit like that. But after I come out of that, I want to get back into business and build something that is fundamentally incompatible with the old. And so to that point, tell me a little bit about the thinking around Peach and the matchmaking. And I love the idea. So talk me through that.
Yeah, so when I wanted to build something on Bitcoin, I was like, okay, what can I build? I'm not an engineer, so I'm not gonna help that much on the protocol level, but I can help on the network level. And what is the problem to solve at the network level is well, a network is what? Is a group of users, right? So how do we get more users? And the first problem to solve is how do we get the retail to get their hands on Bitcoin? How do we get the people to get their hands on Bitcoin? And this is also the first question that this is a question that we see kind of every week on Bitcoin Twitter as well, is when you orange pill someone, you're like, yeah, what exchange do you send? Do you give to your newbie? So I wanted to do my part to help solve this problem. And originally, I thought about a similar business model like Cash App a little bit. I was like, Cash App is great, in fact, the UX is great for Europe, because I'm based in Switzerland. But then I figured that, well, this type of business required a bank account, required to hold the fiat money. And this is such a mess. I was like, fuck that, fuck them, I'm not opening a bank account. So I looked at the peer-to-peer category, and I saw that the peer-to-peer category in the Bitcoin space is actually quite empty. There is a big opportunity here there. We have obviously Hodl, who is hosting us today. We have local Bitcoin and Paxful, and on the right side of the spectrum we have BISC, but then that's it. And I look at those options, and I saw that the customer experience could be better, so improved. Yes. So I basically took the business model, and I applied a different customer experience to the peer-to-peer category.
Beautiful. Talk us through the customer experience in this, because I think when I try and explain to people about Bitcoin and what an exchange is, because how many people have been asked here, like, why does the Bitcoin price go up and down? Like, has anyone ever been asked that? Yeah. You try and explain it, it's like, well, all prices go up and down, and the price is just the midpoint of what all the people asking and offering, right, like, are willing to pay, and then the price is the midpoint. So what you've done is you've taken that idea of a midpoint and of different people bidding and different people offering, and you've created a matching thing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, what is peer-to-peer? In fact, peer-to-peer is about finding your perfect match. So I basically got inspired by what's working in the fiat industry. Tinder, for example, is working great. The mechanism of Tinder are working great in the fiat industry. Well, you know what? We want to grow the network. Let's use what's worked best in the fiat industry. And so I took the matchmaking mechanism that I applied to the peer-to-peer matching system, basically.
Beautiful. And has anyone found the love of their life on the app yet?
No, that's not the goal. That's not the goal.
Really?
No, not yet. Maybe later. when the network will go. Yeah.
Okay. So the other question I wanted to ask was, so apart from the business being run on a Bitcoin standard, you're also running the business internally, also on a bit of a Bitcoin standard.
Right, not a bit, 100%.
Okay.
So we are a registered company, and we are registered in Switzerland, and we're using the Switzerland regulation to our advantage. So I could create the company 100% on Bitcoin. I told you earlier that creating a bank account is a mess. I just didn't want to get into that. So no bank account in Pitch. My reserve is into Bitcoin. I pay people in Bitcoin. My spendings are in Bitcoin. So I'm fucking ready for number go up. So my spendings can go down.
So what if Bitcoin goes to 0?
I'm fucked.
As we all are. That's called conviction.
Exactly. Skin in the game.
For 1 cent? Beautiful. Okay. I better fucking put my order in at 2 cents. Fuck him. All right, so talk me through some of the advantages and drawbacks in peer-to-peer and like some of the challenges that you guys have had to overcome. Because for me still, I mean, I used to do peer-to-peer Bitcoin with a brown paper fucking bag and walking into a cafe and hoping the guy doesn't like run off with the money. So that was, back in the day. So talk me through some of those challenges and how you've overcome them and how the actual money moves and how you ensure that actually happens.
Right. So they say that stacking sats on a centralized exchange is easier, but I don't think that's necessarily true actually, because most of the time to buy Bitcoin on a centralized exchange, you have to do a bank transfer. And guess what? Well, banks don't like that, right? So even in Europe, we see a lot of censorship when you send money to an exchange. So, well, with peer-to-peer, you can when you send money, you send money to another peer, so the bank doesn't know that you're actually opting out from their system. That's one advantage. The other advantage of peer-to-peer is that you are not only using bank transfer, but you're using hundreds of different payment methods, which are way more usable than bank transfers. So, like whatever, Revolut, gift cards, PayPal, whatever, and it's all on your phone. So also to onboard the new generation, like Gen Z, millennial type of people who are always on their phone, it's like we're allowing them to stack sats, peer-to-peer, with better privacy standard, and just from their phone. They do not have to go back home, open their laptop, log into their bank account and do a bank transfer. Like it's way too long. It's not usable. So I do think that peer-to-peer has the opportunity, the potential to become way more usable than actually centralized exchange. So the goal with Pitch is to make stacking sats peer-to-peer the standard.
And so from a mechanic standpoint, does that mean you've got some sort of escrow function?
Right,
Someone puts some Bitcoin in escrow, then when the fiat payment is completed, then the Bitcoin is released.
You got it, Zvetsky. Okay. Yes, we got a 2 out of 2 multi-signature with the seller. Because in peer-to-peer, the thing is that, well, there are some disputes, obviously. I mean, scammers are everywhere. So we need still to ensure that we can send the funds to the buyer in case if the seller is a scammer, and the other way around. So basically what we do is that we do provide the infrastructure for a safe transaction without being custodial. So the goal is to provide usability without compromising on security and privacy. It's hard, but this is what we aim to do.
Are you allowed to tell us a little bit about how you solved that piece, or is that part of the secret sauce?
Well, I told you it's a 2 out of 2 multi-sig signature with the seller, basically.
Okay, so who's the second signature? Peach?
Peach and the seller, yeah.
Peach and the seller. Okay, so the worst case that can happen is someone can put some Bitcoin into an escrow, someone pays, and then the seller runs off with the money, and then the Bitcoin gets stuck, right? Or
right. No, because we actually came up with after 4,250 blocks, which is approximately a month, the 2 out of 2 multi-signature becomes a single signature for Pitch. So in case there is a dispute, we only get custody of the Bitcoin only if there is a dispute. And that's how we solve the problem.
Okay. So that's like a time lock or something?
That's right.
Okay, well done. Well done. That's a good solution. So I see you've thought this through, apparently. I'm glad. I want to ask about like if there's any drawbacks. So talk me through some of the
Drawbacks.
I mean, we talked about challenges, so maybe that kind of fits in there. But is there some things you think that are shit in P2P that will always be shit?
Right. What is shit is that we are a company, so which means that we depend on a fiat jurisdiction, and you know how it is. You know how I mean, the truth of yesterday isn't the truth of tomorrow. Rules change, law regulation change, so we have to ask for authorization to open a business. We have to ask for authorization to allow free people to do trades together, and I think, I mean, we have to ask for licenses and everything, and I think it's pathetic. It's really pathetic. So, but this is how we are right now, and I think the name of the game is to use loopholes in fiat jurisdiction, and to use them to our advantage until they collapse, and we can build in our Bitcoin Gulch Valley.
It will build over their bones, the motherfuckers.
Right, exactly.
Is this only available in Europe, or is it available more broadly?
At the moment, it's only available in Europe, and hopefully next year we'll scale to Latin America.
And what are the challenges of scaling to other countries, actually?
Man, I don't know yet. I'm just launching now.
Come on, man. You haven't thought about this? Okay. No, I mean, you would know a little bit with it, right? Like, what's the reason you picked Europe first? Is it because of the...
I'm based in Europe. I'm benefiting from the Swiss regulation, so it just makes sense to build where I am.
But could you not just make the app available in Latin America, or is there
No,
stuff you need to do for
no,
that?
I mean, from a business standpoint, we need to make sure that we can absorb as well the new waves of customers, right? So little by little.
So it's more like a scalability problem, not a regulation problem, or?
A little bit of both.
Okay, cool. All right, so then last kind of question is, what's your final message to people here listening to you building a Bitcoin product, and what do you think they should do?
Right. My message is, I think the more on-ramp in the market, the better. I think that competition on a Bitcoin standard is not the same than on a fiat standard. The proof is, I'm here today announcing a new direct competitors of HODL HODL, and yet HODL HODL is highly supportive. Because if I succeed, if Pitch succeed, well, guess what? It benefits the whole peer-to-peer category. So it benefits them, it benefits Bitcoin the network, and it benefits also them individually. So incentives are aligned. On a Bitcoin standard, incentives are aligned. The pie grows, basically. So yeah, I think that I mean, I encourage everyone to try this beautiful experience, to go and build something. Obviously, I'm at the beginning of the journey. It's just starting, but we have faith, we put the proof of work, and we're having fun doing it. So we're just gonna win, so it's good.
Beautiful. All right, so Steph, thank you.
Alex, thank you.
You're very welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, Steph. Looks like we have a question.
Yeah, we have time for...
pitchbitcoin.com.
There we go. Any other questions other than websites? Okay, we have a gentleman back there.
Yeah, so peer-to-peer systems work better if you have more users, more makers, more takers. So I was wondering if you might, in the future, integrate with other peer-to-peer trading platforms like BISC or like HODL HODL or somehow.
Yeah, we would love to. We would love to. That's the short answer. We're going to work on this down the road.
Yeah, okay.
Beautiful. It's a very French answer. Yes. Anyone else? Questions? Come on, guys. Look, there we go. We have one here.
Okay, last one.
What kind of amounts do you accept, or what are the limits?
Good question.
That's a very good question. We decided to not bother with their KYC shit, so we're just gonna accept trade up until the limit, which is 1,000 Swiss francs. So it's not a lot, but for plebs, I mean, who can actually afford to already save 1,000 per month in Bitcoin, I think it's already good. So Pitch is like a pleb stacking kind of application.
All right, one more. Let's go.
There's no KYC, then like what stops it being regulated to Europe? Like anyone could just download the app and use it.
Right. Well, we're using some tweaks to track actually that there is that one device is only linked to one account. So we're saving the hash of your payment details, and we're also saving the hash of the device ID. I can explain you later. I can explain you later if you want how it works.
Yeah, just was like, yeah, pretty much was my question. But then you guys just keep that information.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. So thank you.
Thank you
a
so
lot.
much.